Hey, happy Tuesday afternoon. I hope that you're having a fabulous day. I got to start the day on the Chiros Sushi free page, and I went through and knocked down lies that are holding us back on the topic of limiting beliefs and doubt. So if you'd like to see that, I of course went like in lots of different places. Hey, Jess, good to see you. Lots of different places from there. I will be posting that on this page. I highly recommend that you take an opportunity when I pop it up to check it out and see which ones apply to you. And there's Chelsea. Good to see you, Chelsea. Jess, I don't know about you, but all these people who are reporting about snow, I wish that we were getting snow in Alaska. I got to make my igloo, you know. Hey, Gloria, good to see you. All right, so listen. For those of you here in the boot camp, this is going to be familiar to you. And this was a discussion that we had in the boot camp. I think it was either this week or last week about scheduling your strategies for healthy living workshop. And what do you do if no one shows up? And I went through and said, well, we actually have 6 invitations for the strategies for healthy living workshop. And it's really going to be unusual then if you follow that system to not have people show up. The other thing is when you have it scheduled, even if no one shows up, because you scheduled it, because you put that in your conscious mind, right? Because you got ready for it, you still go. So this morning, I was supposed to do an interview with the student chapter at Sherman for LCW, and they had problems. Hey, Ange. Hey, Elena and Lindsay and Lori. Great to see you guys. Hey, Greg. And they had internet problems, and so we weren't able to go and do it. So guess what? I'm still going to come live, and I'm still going to do it because I prepared for it, and then I will give them this the link for this, but all of you get the benefit of hearing it as well. So what I really want to talk about is how do you rock your schedule like a boss? And this the just so that you know, hey Michelle, good to see you, and Luzianne. The context of this is I was asked to help the students, like, how do you manage your home and school, right? And so that's the context of this, but it clearly applies to practice as well. I also want you to know that I'm putting the final touches on my Chiro Mom playbook. So if you want to be one of the individuals that gets that hot off the presses, you want to shoot me an email. My email is drb@drbarbaraeaton.com. Do not Facebook message me. Send me an email, drb, so drb at drbarbaraeaton.com. Jessica, will you type that in, please, just to make it easier for everyone? I can't, it's really hard to type while I'm doing this. So if you would do drb@drbarbaraeaton.com, it will at least be in the thread. Chiro Mom Playbook, put that in your subject line, please. It's really cool. So it's you know how if you're trying to run somebody else's schedule, it just doesn't work as well. Well, that's kind of how a lot of us have had to deal with practice as women. And no offense to the guys, just like it's different, right? Like it's just different. One isn't better and one isn't worse. It's just different. So I have come up with the Chiro Mom playbook. And just like playbooks need, plays for special teams, and they need plays for offense and defense and overtime and double overtime, I've got the playbook for you so that you can rock being a Chiro Mom. All right, so let's jump in. So I'm going to give you, if you're taking notes today, 13 tips to rock your schedule like a boss. All right, so here we go. Number 1, stay on schedule. Start your day on time. Be methodical so that you can be spontaneous. See kids flourish in structure because it makes them feel secure. And yes, if you want this, I'd be happy to share it with you. Again, send me an email, drb@drbarbaraeaton.com. Don't leave a message here. I'm not going to pick up your email from this thread. Send me an email and I'll make sure that you get this outline. And then that way you can better apply it. All right, so number 1, let's start your day on time. So if you haven't read the book, Mel Robbins, or listened to it, I like listening to it because I think she's funny. listen to the 5-second rule. And she talks about being a boss of your morning. So for me, and I know many of you are the same way because we've had this conversation, I would much rather be the one that dominates my morning than to kind of fall into the morning, right? And hit snooze 100 times, because then I'm not the one calling the shots. So schedule your morning, get up, get dressed, get going, get up, get dressed, get going. Like at the very beginning, dominate your day. I personally like to exercise in the morning, and I'm going to give credit to my assistant Myra on this one. And she said that, for a while she was exercising in the morning and things changed, and then she started working out randomly in the evening. And she said, what it really said to me was that everybody else is more important than I am. Everybody else's needs are more important than I am. Everybody else's whatever is more important than my health. Because if she put it at the end of the day, everything else could crowd out that time for her to exercise. It also basically says to yourself through your subconscious mind, you get whatever's left over. You get the scraps. Now, that's not how any of us think, right? And that's definitely not how any of us would instruct our daughters or our employees or our practice members to take the leftovers. So I encourage you, when you get up in the morning, dominate your time, start and stay on schedule. The reason it's so important to be methodical is because if you're methodical, things get done, and then you can be spontaneous. Then you can, when your friend Jess messages you and is like, hey, you want to go get lunch? I'm like, yeah, sure. Because I've already done everything, and I know what I've got to still do today, so I can be spontaneous. Now, if instead you're like, oh, I just like go with the flow a little bit more, and somebody asks you to do something, or somebody asks you like even to do something special, you would have to say no, because it's like, oh, I didn't get my work done on this time, and the kids have this, and this is going on, and blah. And really, you don't even really know if you can say yes or no, simply because you're not being methodical about running through the systems. So when you're methodical and you plan, that's when we get to be spontaneous. So listen to this. Your kids will flourish in structure because it makes them feel secure. So start the day and have structure. This goes for if you're only running your own life or if you're running your family's life. Structure brings security. Oh, but my kids just like to do things on their own. Okay, well, model for them what excellent behavior looks like, right? That we get up, we dominate our mornings, we have a certain routine that we go through. Guess what? Their whole life is going to be about that. So the sooner you can teach them that, the better off it's going to be. And who better to learn with than you as their mom and dad? Who better to teach them about being happy in the morning than their mom and dad? Because listen, if they go out to college and they have roommates and you haven't taught them that they have a responsibility to be happy in the morning, yes, I said it. We have a responsibility to be happy in the morning. God just gave you another day. Are you kidding? You woke up. Let's be thankful, right? Let's be thankful for the opportunities that are ahead of us. So when they're in your home and you can model for them happiness and joy in the morning and energy in the morning, like liking your morning or not liking your morning is all up in your head. It's a choice that you can make to turn it around right now. And let me tell you something, if your kid goes off to college or your kid gets married and you've allowed them to be grumpy in the morning or to sleep until noon, that is not the lifestyle of successful people. I'm just saying, it's not. You can read every successful book and let me know which one says, oh, you know what, just like ease into the morning. And if you do less, you'll be more successful. Said not one person ever who wanted to live to their optimum potential. All right, so number one, stay on schedule. Number two, be honest about what really makes you relax. So I hear some people say, oh, just, like being able to sit in front of the TV at the end of the day really helps me relax. Are you sure? Look at the content that's going into your head. I don't know about you, but like our news here in Alaska, we watch, I can't remember, I think it's called KTBY or whatever. So every 10 minutes they show us the weather, which there's nothing I can do about the weather. So whether it snows or it rains or it's cold or it's warm, nothing I can do. It can kind of guide me as to how I should dress, but I just dress appropriately, walk outside. Oh, it's warm. It's cold. Okay, figure that one out. I didn't need to have a bunch of blue screen time before I go to bed to see that. And then the next thing is it's always about like all the crime that happens, right? Or it's about all of these things that before you go to bed, you can't solve before you go to sleep. So why put it in your mind? Because remember, the last stuff that you put in your mind, and this goes for your kids too, and we're going to get to a nighttime ritual. The last stuff that you put in your mind is what your brain churns on all night long. Like God had it pretty figured out when he, in Song of Solomon, Solomon tells us, don't let the sun go down on your anger. You know why God had him write that? Because if we're angry and we go to sleep, then our brain processes that all night, right? So that's not a good thing to be processing all night. So I would encourage you, if you know that 2 hours before bed, like the articles and all of this stuff that we all post on Facebook said that shut off blue screen or blue light or whatever it's called 2 hours before you go to bed. Well, if you're going to tell other people that, start doing it. Start shutting it off. Read, exercise, meditate, do yoga, go for a walk, hug your kids, hug your spouse, have sex, whatever. But try really hard to not have that blue light before you go to bed. And then be honest. Am I saying TV is bad? I don't know. Am I saying I never watch it? No, I watch it. And every time I do, I'm like, there's so many other things that I could be doing that would be better for my life than this, right? Better choices. Number 3, have a nighttime ritual. Here's something I want to tell you. Go to bed before you think you need it. Go to bed before you think you need it. The worst thing could possibly happen is you lay in bed and you kind of just like relax for a little while. I don't know if you have a hard time going to sleep, like count your blessings. There's a song in Christian circles that says, count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, name them one by one, right? Count your blessings. So how many of you have sung on Facebook Live? There you go. I have no shame, apparently. So literally count your blessings. Like, oh, I just took oxygen into my body. Thank you, Jesus. Bing. I can see. Like if it takes that minute of details in order for you to be thankful before you go to bed, try it. But make sure you have a nighttime ritual. You know, I loved with my kids having a nighttime ritual of let's take a bath and let's relax. And we always read, if you're raising young kids, you know, something I wish that I had done, and I'm going to do this with my grandkids, is do like make believe time before you go to bed and just say, all right, let's make believe today that we're out in the woods. Let's talk about what would be we doing, right? And then make believe something else, and then make believe something else, and teach them to really use their imaginations. I think that is for sure something I'm going to do with my grandkids, is teach them that. And have now with my kids, even when they were in junior high school, and even if I was traveling, so when they were growing up, their doorways met here, and there was a little hallway. So I used to stand between their rooms, and I'd always sing them the song Majesty. Yeah, I'll sing a little bit. Majesty, worship His Majesty. Unto Jesus be all glory, power, honor, and praise. So I would sing that to them, and that would be their last thing. And I'd say, good night, I love you. And then they would go to sleep. And even when I was traveling, I would call them, and it was part of their nighttime ritual, and I'd sing it over the phone. It was always so funny because sometimes I'd try and speed it up because that's what we do as parents. I'd be like, that's not fair. You're singing too fast. So establish that nighttime ritual. Number 4, this is like kind of back to the beginning and start your day on time. Get up early. Be the boss of your morning and own it right from the beginning. I promise you, if you use your time wisely during the day, you will be able to get up earlier in the morning. And man, it just feels good. Like, comment below if it feels good when you get up in the morning and you are just like dominating right from the start. Let me see your thumbs up, or you're like, yeah, right on. If you disagree with me and you're like, oh my gosh, Barb, if I get up before 10, I think that's criminal. I want to hear that too. I've never been that person, but I'm always kind of curious about that. Number 5, plan ahead. And what I mean by plan ahead is look at your week, okay? Like, what things can you group together? I think a lot of time is wasted running errands. You know, By the time you drive somewhere, you get out of your car, you walk in, you do whatever, you walk through the checkout line, you go back to your car. You know, for those of you who have young kids, you strap in your kids, you throw your diaper bag, you do all these things. Like, oh my gosh, that's like a half a day. So if instead you look at your week and you go, okay, here are the places I have to go, try and put them all on one day, right? Or try and make it that, let's say you drop your kids off for practice, then go bam, 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 and get all your errands done. But try really hard. Like, you're going to get back so much time in your day by not running errands every single day. And there's no one that I know of that needs to run errands every day. Actually, like Dr. Ryan Duhofsky was telling me that he calculated how much time it was taking him to go to the gym, work out, you know, like take a shower at the gym and then go to the office. And it was like 14 hours a week. I was like, oh my gosh. And so now what Jess and Ryan do is they have a gym at home. So now they've saved themselves like a whole day's work just by being able to work out in your own home. Like, all right, so maybe you guys can't do that, but it's just little tweaks like that. So if it's one day a week, they just gave themselves 52 days in a year. Like, that's a lot of time, in my opinion. All right, so plan ahead, meal plan. Like, there are all kinds of programs online that'll even plan for you. So use them. They work, but meal plan. And then I encourage you too, when you meal plan, you know, like a lot of the work is getting the stuff out and cutting it up and then cleaning up. So why not instead make double? If you're gonna like do, let's say, like the spaghetti squash with marinara sauce, make double and freeze half of it, right? I mean, even make double and use half of it at the end of the week or something. But if you're gonna make one batch, make two. I think it's really important to plan ahead in terms of paying things online. A caveat to that, make sure if you're paying, like you have things on auto payment for your credit card, you still have a responsibility every single month to look at those charges. Or it's just really easy to have things like coming off, $10 here, $20 there. So still be responsible for those. Is this making sense to everybody? Is this helpful? If it is, will you comment in the comment section? It's almost looking like I can still see myself, but it's looking like I'm not being viewed anymore. Can anyone see? Oh, there we go. All right, so Alyssa, she said yes. Michael, good to see you. Haley, Myra, Crystal, Jess, Jean, Kate, Cassie, Tiffany, Dina, Jennifer, Eric. Good to see you guys. And there's Stace. Hey, Stace. I've got my whole Alaskan contingency. Oh, and Jessica said there are some awesome nighttime guided meditations for kids online. Oh my gosh, there's like everything online, right? I just learned of a new website that I'm going to be sharing with you boot campers that is like incredible bomb. All right, so plan ahead, errands, mealtime, pay online, and also plan ahead your downtime. Like when do you want to rest? And if you know it, then it's way easier to push through. It's kind of like if you're running and you have no idea how long you're running or where you're running to, it's easy to stop because you can't see the finish line, right? But if I know, all right, Barb, just push it hard, like the top of the hill is right there, you know, you can grind it out. So plan ahead so that when you're in the grind of the day, you're going to tell yourself, okay, on lunch, I'm giving myself a 15-minute nap. Perfect. Then grind hard until then. All right, 6, be productive on your days off so that you have extra time during the week. This was one from Myra, and I think it's brilliant. So even on your days off, a day you don't go into the office, a day you don't go to class, whatever that happens to be, set aside a portion of the day to be productive, to make the rest of your week easier. Because it may only be like an hour on your day off that then is going to give you back several hours during the week. So I highly recommend be productive on your days off. Number 7, cell phone and electronics. Set up notifications on your phone and monitor your usage. I know that this is a real eye-opener, and I did it. And just one second. And I can honestly say, I I'm really kind of proud of my usage on my phone. I'm sure everyone probably thinks I'm on it a lot more than I am. I just like to be really efficient. So monitor it. Myra said that there's an app in Myra. If you can put that in, or somebody who's watching, if you know of what those apps are, to see. I have something that like sends me a message on what my usage, but I don't know what it is. I don't even know how I got it on my phone, to be honest with you. Listen to this. American adults spend more than 11 hours per day. 11 hours per day watching, reading, listening to, or simply interacting with media, according to a new study by market research group Nielsen. That's up from 9 hours, 32 minutes just 4 years ago. 11 hours per day interacting with this thing. Isn't that crazy? Jessica said, we have been doing a meal swap program that I facilitate and approve recipes. 5 to 6 families each week make 5 to 6 family-sized servings. So we all make one recipe and then get together one day a week to swap. Kitchen dirty once. Hey, Jess, that's super awesome. If the people in that would be willing, would you guys consider to do a Facebook Live to the boot camp group when you do that? And all of you can just talk about how you brought it together and what are some of the tricks? Because I think that would be super helpful. I already know you're going to say yes. But just if you would ask them, and if you need someone to hold the camera while you do that Facebook Live, then you and I can talk about it. But I think that that's awesome, especially because it's kind of fun sometimes to eat somebody else's food. And I know that, like, let's say it was something you're trying to get your family to eat and they won't eat it because you cook it. You could be like, oh, but Dr. Stacy made this one. And they'll be like, oh, it's going to be so good. Give it to me. And you're like, what? I picked out the recipe, but who cares as long as we accomplish it. All right. So number 8, all the guys watching, probably you girls would like this one too. And I'm going to give Myra this one credit too. And that is make sex a priority. Make sex a priority. A lot can be accomplished between a husband and wife in a 30-minute romp between the sheets or wherever else that happens to be. But make it a priority, because I'm telling you, divorce takes a lot of time and it's really expensive and there's a lot of carnage along the way. So make sex a priority. Is Dr. Barb saying, oh my gosh, sex is the most important thing in a marriage? No, I didn't say that. I'm just simply saying, if you're married, make it a priority. Make it something that you plan for. Maybe you don't have to schedule it in, but in your mind, make sure you plan for it, right? Number 9, share your goals with your spouse. This is another one I'm going to give Myra credit for. It really helps us stay accountable when the person that we're sharing a bed with, or the person that we're sharing a home with, or an apartment or an office with, if we share what our goals are and then we give each other permission to hold one another accountable. Number 10, listen up. No gossip. No gossip. It's a waste of time. It accomplishes nothing and it brings you down. So I know it's really common in female circles to do gossip things, right? And I always love how at the end we're like, oh, bless her heart. Like, what? Or Sammy said at Moody, they would say, great guy loves the Lord. Great guy loves the Lord. Like, when they would rip on somebody, then it's great guy. So just make a boundary in your life of no gossip. If you're not part of the problem or part of the solution, it's gossip. And even if you're part of the problem and part of the solution and you have no intention of changing, it's gossip. So, have conversations about big things in life, not little things that could potentially hurt somebody, especially if it's somebody who's important to you or yourself. So no gossip. It's a waste of time. It accomplishes nothing and brings you down. And let's face it, we all have either been the target of gossip or we know somebody who has, and it's a really painful experience in most women's lives. Been there. Number 11, study boundaries. Study what boundaries are. Cloud and Townsend have written several books on boundaries. I highly recommend them. Our church, which is ACFAK, as an Alliance Christian Fellowship, AK.com, ACFAK.com. We've been doing a series at church on boundaries. It's been phenomenal. If you would like to see those, you can either go to that website or Alliance Christian Fellowship Eagle River on Facebook, and you can see them. I'd be happy to also get you the links. But please study boundaries. Here's another thing. If you're a student, don't study with chatty Cathys. Listen to me right here. Don't study with chatty Cathys. It is a waste of your time. Study time is study time. If you want to chat, set that aside. But when you're studying, be focused and study. The maximum, and keep this in mind. So the maximum amount of time that our brain, human brain, can really and truly just like focus in and turn everything out. Focus in, turn everything out, stay focused, stay focused, stay focused is 40 minutes. So if you think about it, like set up your study time for 40 minutes and then take, let's say, a 5-minute break and maybe switch subjects and then 40 minutes, take a break, 40 minutes and take a break. I didn't say 40 minutes, gossip with chatty Cathy and other people, and 6 hours later, get back to it. It means get your work done. So this is also in setting up boundaries for those of us who either are in practice or have been in practice. It's really important to set up these boundaries because number 12 is you got to start building your care, don't carry, and never chase muscle. Care, don't carry. There are going to be lots of people throughout your life who want your attention, and people who have nothing but time have no problem wasting yours. Write that one down. People who have nothing but time have no problem wasting yours, but don't allow them to. Time is your inventory, whether you're in school or you're in practice or you're in between one of those two. Time is your inventory. And that minute right now, gone. I never get it back. This coming up minute, it's your opportunity to capitalize it and make it best. So leave the tell it to Alice problems to the professionals. I'm not a counselor. Most of you watching this are not a counselor. So please have boundaries with the people in your life, whether you're a student or not. And listen, for the most part, individuals who always have drama in their life, if they're not telling you, because a lot of times, we have huge hearts. We want to help everybody, right? But do you recognize that a lot of times that person that's always got some kind of dramatic thing in his or her life, there's somebody else they can tell it to, if not you. So it's not like they're going to go, oh my gosh, you're the last person on earth they'd ever talk to. And really and truly, if you probably don't have solutions for them, or this, like I used to say this in practice to my practice members, if they came in and like we're talking about the same issue over and over again, and I'm like, hey, Crystal, I totally get it. Let me ask you something. What action did you take from the last time we had this conversation in order to correct it? And let's say Crystal's like, oh, I just didn't have time. And then she wants to like keep, and this is for practice members or people in your life. Let's say she wants to keep like raining on my parade. Then I'm simply going to say, hey, Crystal, so I'm going to do you the biggest favor in the whole wide world right now. And that is I'm going to establish a boundary in our relationship. So until and unless you're willing to do something about this, and I'm not saying you have to do what I'm saying, but until and unless you're willing to do something other than talk about it, there's a boundary here. And we are no longer going to talk about this subject matter. When you start making progress forward, then absolutely, let's talk about it again. But right now, all I'm doing is I'm cementing it deeper into your life, and you're getting a small like pacifier about it, and nothing's really going to change. And as your friend, as your chiropractor, as whoever, I'm unwilling to participate at that level anymore. And I used to teach that to my practice members too. So let's say Alyssa is talking to me about somebody she works with, and this person is always showing up late to work. They're always sick. And so Alyssa's having to pick up the slack, and it's a total pain in the hiney. Then I'm going to teach Alyssa. I'm going to say, hey, Alyssa, what do you think about me teaching you something about boundaries today that will really help you in this situation? Especially because remember, there's a thing called quantum physics, right? And it's about vibrational frequency. So we all have a certain vibration, right? I mean, this table that my computer's on has vibrational frequency. It's the atoms moving back and forth. So individuals are healthy, optimistic, like working at their optimum potential, they vibrate very high. The ethyl enthusiastics, right? The Debbie Downers vibrate down here somewhere. So when we're in community with them, there has to be a balance of that energy. So we donate energy to them and they feel better, right? Have you ever had people who are like, man, every time around you, I just feel better? And it's like, I know, because you're taking my energy. And sometimes there's just a balance. And so it feels good to be in that, like, charge the same energy, right? But many times it's because we donate energy and then it brings them up. So what happens when we're around the Debbie Downers, or the individuals who complain all the time, is we then donate energy to them, and somebody who's in healing donates part of their healing energy to that person. So I would simply say to my practice members, really, by putting up a boundary, you're saving yourself time, energy, and money, because instead of every time that person's stealing healing energy for you, which is going to take you longer to get better, you're holding it in so that your body can change, so that your body can get well. And then I would go through the exact scenario of establishing that boundary with my practice members. And they were always like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do that, but it sure sounds nice. And then I'd be like, well, let's practice it. I'll be your friend at work. Go ahead. So remember, education in your practice is just that, right? It's role playing with your practice members. So when they leave your office, they can retell the story. They can retell the situation. They can take what you've taught them and throw it forward to somebody else. All right. And then the last one is only hang out with high achievers. Set that boundary. No one said you had to hang out with people who produce less than you do. You get to choose. That's the beautiful thing about life, is that you get to choose. The greatest threat to you and me living to your optimum potential is a low demand environment. So if you're around people who vibrate very low, then guess what? You're going to be brought down to their level. It's kind of like if you're overweight, it's really nice to hang out with other people who are overweight. Why? Because I look side to side and they look like I do. So it makes me feel pretty good. Now, if I'm overweight and I hang out with individuals who are really fit, it makes me want to step up my game, right? If you're the richest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. If you're the most successful, you're in the wrong room. Now, there are times that we can be in that room in order to lead and teach and whatnot, but that better not be the group that we're regularly associating with, or else we're not leveling up. Lindsay says, great advice, Dr. B. Thanks. You're welcome. Michael, welcome. Crystal says, all of us need this tough love. I agree. And Joanne joined us. Myra gave the link for the screen time. There's Ali. Thanks. And Jessica said that she'd love to show how they do that meal swap thing. So be watching for that in the boot camp. Yeah, boot camp has its privileges. There are so many of them just like this. And that's what we do as boot campers. We help one another. Hey, so would you do me a favor, please? All of you right now who are watching now or watch later, literally, I'm going to do a little like guilt trip here on you and ask if this has been beneficial. Would you please hit share and share this to your page? Whether it's a practice member, it's a friend, it's a family member, it's another chiropractor. These are all just tips of rocking your schedule. So if it's been of value to you, will you please hit share? And then as soon as you do, write your name in the comment section and put share, because I want to applaud your action. You deserve it. You've, number one, listened to what I've said. Number two, you've created a balance of energy, right? If not, then there's dissonance, which dissonance is when there's an opposite energy. So by sharing, it's kind of like you paid me back, and I thank you for that. So God bless you all. Thanks so much. If you have additional tips that you know of that really help you rock your schedule like a boss, put them in the comment section and I'll add this to the outline. Thanks so much. Have a good day. Bye.